Ever since Sputnik 1 beeped its way across the night sky, space has been the ultimate high ground. For decades, the United States has been the undisputed king of that hill. From GPS guiding our cars to the intelligent satellites watching over global hotspots, American space assets have been the backbone of modern life and military power. But up in the cold, silent vastness of space, a major shift is happening. The ground beneath America's space dominance is starting to tremble, and the tremors are coming from an old ally, Europe. For a long time, Europe was a junior partner in the space race. While the US and the Soviet Union launched moon missions and space stations, European nations pooled their resources just to get a foothold in orbit. They built capable rockets, like the Ariane series, and fantastic scientific probes. But when it came to the critical infrastructure, the constellations of satellites that power our interconnected world, they often relied on American technology, American launchers, and the American security umbrella. But that era of dependency is rapidly coming to an end. Across the continent, a quiet revolution is taking place. Europe is building its own, fully independent satellite systems. The most prominent example is Galileo, a global navigation satellite system that rivals America's GPS. It's not just a backup. In many ways, it's more advanced, offering higher accuracy for civilian use right out of the box. Then there's the Copernicus program, the world's most sophisticated Earth observation system. Its Sentinel satellites provide unprecedented data on our planet's health, from tracking polar ice melt to managing disaster relief. This isn't just about scientific curiosity. It's about strategic autonomy. It means Europe no longer needs to ask for permission to see what's happening on its own borders or around the world. So why this sudden push for independence? A few key reasons. First, the world has changed. The post-Cold War sense of unwavering transatlantic unity has been tested. Events like the Iraq War, disagreements over intelligence sharing, and shifting political winds have taught European leaders a hard lesson. Relying on another nation, even a close ally, for critical infrastructure is a strategic vulnerability. What if, during a crisis, access to GPS was restricted? What if crucial satellite imagery was withheld? These are no longer hypothetical questions for policymakers in Brussels, Paris, and Berlin. They are real-world risks that demand a European solution. Second, the economics of space have been completely upended. Companies like SpaceX have shown that access to space can be dramatically cheaper. This has created a new, vibrant commercial space industry in Europe. Hundreds of startups are now designing, building, and launching their own satellites for everything from global internet to precision agriculture. This commercial boom provides the industrial base and the technological innovation needed to support government ambitions. It's a powerful feedback loop. Government investment in systems like Galileo and Copernicus creates opportunities for private companies, which in turn drive down costs and develop new capabilities for the entire continent. This brings us to the big question: what does this mean for the United States? In the short term, it creates competition. For years, the US launch industry had a comfortable hold on the market for government and commercial satellites. Now, European companies are competing for and winning major contracts. The American GPS system, once the only game in town, now has a sophisticated European competitor. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Competition often breeds innovation and lowers prices for everyone. But it's a definite change in the status quo. The long-term implications, however, are far more profound and potentially costly for American dominance. Let's think about what space dominance really means. It's not just about having the most rockets or satellites. It's about setting the standards. It's about being the indispensable partner. It's about having the technological and industrial might to shape the future of space exploration and utilization. For decades, the world has largely operated on an American-led system. The technical standards for GPS became the global standards. The protocols for space traffic management were heavily influenced by the US. This position has given the United States enormous soft power and economic advantages. As Europe becomes a self-sufficient space power, this influence naturally wanes. When European nations can launch their own military reconnaissance satellites on European rockets, they are less dependent on American intelligence. When European companies can provide high-resolution satellite data to the global market, American firms lose their competitive edge. In a future conflict, the US can no longer assume it's the only player with a god's-eye view of the battlefield. Allies will have their own independent eyes in the sky, giving them a greater degree of autonomy in their decision-making. This isn't about Europe becoming an adversary. Far from it. In many ways, a stronger, more capable European space program makes for a stronger alliance. During a natural disaster or a regional crisis, having redundant, interoperable systems like GPS and Galileo is a huge advantage. It enhances collective security, but it fundamentally changes the power dynamic. The relationship shifts from one of dependence to one of partnership among equals. The United States will have to negotiate and collaborate in ways it simply didn't have to before. The cost for America, then, isn't a sudden collapse of its capabilities, but a gradual erosion of its unique central position. It's the loss of being the default choice, the sole provider, the ultimate arbiter. In the global game of chess, other players are getting more powerful pieces. This requires a major strategic rethink for Washington. How does America maintain its leadership in an increasingly crowded and competitive space environment? The old model of unilateral dominance is becoming obsolete. The future of space power will likely be defined by alliances and partnerships. The United States has a choice. It can view Europe's rise as a threat and try to compete on every front, a costly and potentially divisive strategy. Or it can embrace this new reality, strengthening its alliances and focusing on leading in the next generation of space. Technology areas like deep space exploration, in-space manufacturing, and quantum communications. The race to define the rules and norms for this new era of space is on. Losing the monopoly on satellite systems might just be the wake-up call America needs to ensure it doesn't lose its leadership in the next chapter of humanity's journey to the stars. The challenge for the US is to transition from being the sole superpower in space to being the leading partner in a network of spacefaring allies. That might be a less dominant role, but in the long run, it could be a much more stable and sustainable one. Thanks for watching. If you found this look at the changing geopolitics of space interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.